Scrooge was better than his word. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city ever knew.
My mouth's bleeding, Bert! My mouth's bleeding! Bert! What do you know about it? Merry Christmas!
Ho, ho, ho! Happy holidays, everyone! And welcome to Santa Nate Saves Christmas! Ho, 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 ho! Words about books, Ben.
Just opening up.
Yeah. Because otherwise I'll get criticized. We're talking about Later On We'll Conspire by Kortney... Is it Keisel?
It's Keisel.
Keisel.
Rhymes with diesel.
Oh. It's much cooler than my pronunciation. I apologize. Kortney Keisel. Later On We'll Conspire, Ben.
This was your pick.
Yeah?
Do you have anything you wanna say about it?
Yeah. So when you're trying to fill in, you're like, I've got picks. I guess I'll take December. How about a Christmas book? Goodreads is recommending me a Christmas book. They would never lead me astray. Goodreads has never, ever recommended me something that, like, maybe isn't at all in my wheelhouse. And
when you say Goodreads recommended you something, where on Goodreads did this pop up?
I don't even remember, Ben.
Was it like an ad they paid for? Or was it an actual recommendation?
I don't think it was an ad. I think it... Did this win some sort of award last year, Ben?
I can't imagine.
Well, there's our... there's your opinion.
Little preview, I guess.
Well, it's been real. Bye.
So, I guess... I learned a few things. I'll try to do a little bit of an about the author. I don't know much about the author other than I could read you her little author blurb that's on the back of the book.
I did no research whatsoever in any form this entire time. So
I tried to research, but this is it's an indie book. I think you thought it was traditionally published.
Yep, and I made no attempt to verify that. But I thought, okay, a holiday thing about is like a romance with a spy, and ooh, that sounds like fun. Done. Slotted in for December. What could go wrong, Ben? What could possibly go wrong?
So we're not in. I'll say I don't think we're in like disaster territory with this one.
No. I would say it is not the worst thing I read this year, or I would say, you know what? By far not the worst thing I read.
I didn't really research about the author too much because she seems like a fairly private person. She writes a bunch of romance novels, and this series seems like a joint effort between her and other authors I suspect she knows or worked with somehow. I couldn't find anything about how the Christmas Escape series came together.
I don't know. You know more about it than I do, Ben. I told you I did absolutely no research.
Okay, this is literally on the Goodreads page. I mean, this isn't
Ben, I did no research. I looked at the description, and I saw the cover art, and I was like, "Yep, looks good," and I just moved on. And I didn't even realize it was part of a series until I looked back on it again earlier last month. And I was like, oh no, did I mess up and accidentally pick something that's like book 5 in a series or something?
There's 7 books in the series so far, perhaps total, I don't know. I can't find any information about it as a series. But I noticed that a lot of the authors were University of Utah graduates, so I'm guessing maybe they know each other personally, or they've connected at some sort of writing conference or something like that. I'm just guessing. I'm
just making stuff up now.
Making
Fake
stuff
news.
up. Yeah, but that H Bomber guy thing has me like scared shitless now.
Then you can't cancel someone who has no career to begin with. Come on.
That's true.
What are they going to do? Make us remove our podcast? No one listens to it.
I don't know much about the Christmas Escape series, other than it seems possible that this is like just friends decided to write together thing. So this is pitched as a clean, closed-door romance. This set me down a rabbit hole.
It sure did.
Because...
boy, did it ever.
Most of my problems with the book, I think, are probably problems I have with the genre, I think. I don't know that I what to fault the author for and what is just like, I might not get what we're doing here.
Well, word choice.
We'll get there.
Structure.
We'll revert. But so first I had to figure out, what does clean, closed door romance mean? I think I have an idea what clean means.
It means your white bread, milk toast. What's the word I'm looking for? Boring as shit, Ben. You're boring as shit.
I think what I have been able to gather is that clean is closely, almost synonymous with sweet. There's also sweet romance. And they both seem to mean no sex. There can be kissing, hand-holding, but there are no descriptions of sex at all.
But there are graphic depictions of lust. Just
we'll get there.
Lusting after someone.
We'll get there. This is one of the problems I'm going to have with the genre.
Boy, will we ever.
Closed door, as near as I can tell. I say as near as I can tell because here's what I'm doing.
You did
if
no
anybody,
research. No, I'm kidding.
No, I
you
did plenty of research. But
way too much.
There's not like an authoritative source to tell you what clean closed door romance is. It's like asking Nate to define hard rock. He's not going to know. Everything that's a little harder than maybe like the Eagles is gonna go in there for Nate. So, and then if Nate tries to look up what is hard rock, he's gonna find 60 different definitions from like a bunch of metal bloggers who hate everything. That's kind of what's happening here. Like I'm on Tumblr looking up, and this person has one theory and this other person, and none of them are like sources. They're just random people with an opinion about what the genre should be defined as.
Yeah.
But the closest thing I could find to a consensus is that sweet and clean both mean no sex. Closed door means sex can be implied but not depicted. Like a fade to black, a tasteful thing. It happens behind closed doors.
That doesn't even happen though, Ben. In fact, it would have been better if it did. Spoilers.
Yeah, and I've got two problems with this stuff. Because I looked up other examples of clean, sweet, closed door romance. I mean, it really does. It feels like I'm describing music. Like I feel like I'm describing... Oh, what's one of Shy's weird EDM genres? Like industrial gothic synth pop or something. Like that's what it feels like to me. Like I'm hearing all this
industrial gothic synth pop.
I don't know. I'm making that up. I'm making that up, but I'm sure you type that into Google, there's probably at least one band doing it. And it honestly sounds pretty fun. But that's not what's happening here. So what's happening here is I start looking up sweet and clean. I found a I think, a Reddit thread touching on my problem with the terminology, which is clean sounds kind of judgmental.
Well, yeah.
Sweet implies that other things aren't sweet.
Yeah.
Basically, but at the same time, I don't think it's
if your
bad...
genitals touch, it's game over. You are garbage.
This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one to get through.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like reason this out. Like, I'm trying to see both sides here, and you're just going to keep doing that. Okay, so here's my thing. I don't have a problem with not depicting sex in a love story. I think you can have a perfectly fine love story, romance, whatever, without graphic depictions of sex.
Agreed.
But this clean stuff, and I haven't read a lot of it, so if anybody out there has like a better idea, I'm open to being educated on this.
I'm not. Send all your inquiries to Ben.
Send all your inquiries to Ben. wordsaboutbookspod@gmail.com. Hop on the Discord, Instagram threads. Tell me how you define sweet, clean, closed door, and if there are any other terms I should be aware of, and tell me what's up. Because what I'm getting is there's this particular kind of morality that is encapsulated in this word. And it basically means things that won't offend church ladies. You can have all the violence you want. You have all the you can have straight up gore.
You sure can.
But you can't ever see the human body without clothing on, because that would prompt impure thoughts.
That's dirty, Ben. That's disgusting.
But there's this, at least in this book, there's this undercurrent of like repressed desire.
Yeah.
Where it's like, these characters want to. They really want to.
I think how it is they want to, but they don't know what that is. It's like that skit from Family Guy where the judge is like, I would put you somewhere where you're separate from society, but I don't know where that is, so I guess you'll just go free. And he bangs the gavel, and Peter's like, oh, prison. You're talking about prison. It's
but I already banged my gavel.
Yeah, I already banged my gavel. That's these two characters. They're like, God, if there was something more we could do, like, I've got this burning desire, but as far as I know, there's only kissing, hugging, and hand-holding.
I think that's going to be my problem with the book, is it is like a world where sex does not exist. It's not even possible. Everybody is just like a Barbie or Ken doll.
They know that there's something there, kind of, maybe, I guess, because they're like, you were in your boxers, but it's like you're mostly just focusing on those diamond solid abs.
Well, I don't want to sound like a perv. Like, I'm trying to say, like, you don't need sex. I'm with you. Like, I don't think you need that to be in everything. I totally understand somebody wanting to read about romantic love without wanting graphic depictions of sex. I don't think that's weird.
You don't even need graphic depictions, though.
What's weird is two characters who constantly want to get physical and go,
yes,
they get as physical as they can get
without
all the time.
Sex. Yeah. They're like his hand is underneath her shirt on the bare of her lower back, pulling her close, deeply kissing her, and
man, wouldn't it be something if she had a front?
Yeah, and they're like, God,
but
I want to do something, but I
so
don't know.
Unfortunate that women are one-dimensional.
Yeah, it's so
if they could exist in this three-dimensional space, I bet that would be hot.
Yeah, again, it's the Family Guy skit where they're like, God, if only there was something more that we did, but like, I can't think about, like, I can't put my finger on anything, so I won't.
So that's one problem. That's one problem I've had. So I'm low-key researching another book. I haven't told you about this yet.
Oh,
I haven't decided if we're going to do it yet.
Opened up a
can
of worms.
This stuff popped up while researching for that. It's not a romance, but I saw somebody talking about clean books in that, and how I guess there's some debate over this description, but it seems popular enough. I mean, this has over 1,000 reviews on Goodreads, got a pretty decent number of reviews on Amazon, and it seems like there's a lot of people out there that have genuinely read it and like it. I don't want to say just because it's self-published doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't sell. It seems like there's an audience for this. There's like this weird misgiving I have that there's something like slightly hypocritical going on, and we'll get into it. But I think that's really all I want to say for the about the author is just keep in mind I'm not familiar with this genre. If I'm way off base or misunderstanding something, let me know. I'm not trying to attack, but
it's going to be fun editing that down. Anyway, so what did you think of the book, Ben?
Okay, let's talk about a little bit of the plot. So this is a Christmas book.
Yeah.
It takes place at Christmas.
Yep. They do Christmas activities. They build gingerbread houses and wrap gifts.
For about 15 minutes, yeah.
And they spend family time together, Ben. Christmas book, done. See you next year.
Okay, so we've got Park, our male lead.
Park.
He is a
Park
CIA...
Bradshaw.
This is going to be one of those episodes. So Park Bradshaw gets an email from Sienna Prime. She needs help. She's lost some microchips.
Yeah.
So he needs to get those microchips
maybe
back.
USB drives when you
I wasn't
click
gonna
them together.
I wasn't gonna be this guy, but like
they click them together and plug them into a computer.
I don't think the author knows what a microchip is, and that's fine. I don't care. It was a little grating to read as I tried to figure out whatever she was thinking of. The word isn't microchip, but like,
but that's what the spy novels have, right?
What was it she was thinking of? I have no idea.
A USB thumb drive that you need a security thumb drive slapped on? I don't know, Ben.
Well, you can do that. Like, those things exist. I was thinking like a thumb drive. I was also thinking an SD card.
Neat.
But I can't think of anything you could insert into a normal computer that would click together.
It's the Sega Genesis Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. You put one on top of the other, you can play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Ben.
Yeah, I was thinking like a Game Shark with the Game Boy, where you put the Game Shark in the cartridge thing, and then you plug the cartridge into the Game Shark. Oh, God. So, anyway, he's looking for these microchips. They're MacGuffins. It doesn't matter. And he's in this mall. That's the next scene. There's a smash cut. He's in a mall looking for these microchips, and he's fighting a dude in a bathroom. Kicks his ass, kills him.
Yeah. Straight
Kills
up
him in
murders a dude.
Pretty vivid detail. He kills this guy.
Hey, as Burn Notice has said, which is where I get all my spy material from. A lot of hard surfaces in bathroom. Really great place to pick a fight if you got the jump on them.
That's probably true.
If your brain goes from an innie to an outie, you win.
So keep Burn Notice in mind, right? Because Burn Notice doesn't have full frontal nudity, right?
Right.
So like that's the tone I thought this was going for. I thought that's what clean meant. We're gonna have a little nice PG to PG-13 fun.
We're going with a G rating, but not for the violence.
Well,
violence
and not
is an R.
Not even for the kissing. I'm gonna be real with you. Some of the things that happen during these kisses sound a lot like things that happen during other activities.
Yeah, like mailing a letter. You know what I mean?
It could be compared to the act of mailing a letter. It's a stretch, but it could. So he gets the first microchip, but he's covered in blood now. Because, again, it's okay to beat somebody to death and be covered in their blood. Jesus doesn't mind that as long as you're, in the CIA. That's okay with the big man. But you just better not hold her too close on those slow dances, So he goes into a changing room in a department store, and he's changing, and that's when our female lead walks in. Her name is Lacey.
Yeah.
I was gonna give it a minute to see if you wanted to jump in and shout her last name.
No, absolutely not. Nick Warren. Lacey Warren.
Lacey Warren.
Yeah.
Okay. It would have been really funny if they named her Lacey Curtin.
That would be a very spy thing to do.
Yeah, right?
That'd be a very James
like
Bond.
Yeah.
Come again?
A lot of vagina.
I'm sorry, I'm just not getting it. It sounded like you said your name was a lot of, Never mind.
Yeah, that would be cute. Anyway, missed opportunity. We'll get to the time limit this was written in. Did you read the acknowledgement section like I told you to?
Nope, absolutely not, Ben. I don't even remember you telling me to do that.
Yeah, I definitely told you to do that.
Yeah, but I don't remember it, so did it really happen? What, did she acknowledge Brian Sanderson? It was Brandon. It was Brandon Sanderson. She acknowledged him.
Okay, so I want to read real quick before we go any further. I just want to read part of the acknowledgement section. So she's thanking
to
people.
Other authors.
There were so many obstacles. The biggest being starting the book over a month and a half before the release date.
She used to be an English teacher. I think she would have gotten on her own case for that. All right.
So keep that
I
in
didn't
mind.
need to read that because you told me that, Ben.
Yes, a month and a half.
And I know that you're going to cite your sources because if not, I will call H Bomber Guy and he will get you.
Man, we should be doing an episode on that. He just punched a man off the internet.
He H-bombed the guy's career.
He literally H-bombed his career. It's insane. I've never seen it. Anyway. So, Park's in a changing room. This was written in a month and a half. Keep that in mind. And Lacey walks in on him. As you do. She happens to notice that Park is a very well-built gentleman. And he's got abs for days. And is he wearing boxers? I had the impression they were briefs.
God, I didn't really even think about his choice of underwear. If they are briefs, this goes down just a little bit for me,
No, I think they were I think they were like designer briefs. I'm thinking like a
maybe
bikini
they're boxer
bottom.
briefs, Ben.
Maybe they're boxer briefs. We can compromise.
Yeah, this is
So picture an attractive
they're,
man.
They're briefs. His rock solid derriere. His diamond abs. And diamonds are forever, Ben. Did you know
I've heard that. So this is the first scene. This is the meet cute, I guess. And this is super duper horny. So she immediately falls on him and he's hitting on her and she's giving him eyes and he's giving her eyes. And then she eventually leaves the changing room. They're in line behind each other. They start talking about Christmas gifts. He's very witty and funny. She's buying her mom a scarf because she hates her mother. And he is like, well, a scarf is a gift for people when you don't know what to get them. And she's like, I know what to get my mother. She loves scarves. She's a scarf person. You know who else was a scarf person? That guy H. Palmer got destroyed. Dude had so many scarves. Anyway.
He wore turtlenecks. Why does he need a scarf?
He must have been very insecure about his neck. Because he did wear a turtleneck and a scarf.
Or he idolizes Steve Jobs. Yeah?
It's possible.
Or perhaps the Theranos lady.
Oh, Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you have. I'm aware.
I've never seen it, man. I've just never seen it. As somebody who occasionally does research, I appreciate all the research that went into it. Nate? So anyway, he puts the microchip on the scarf. She goes to, I'm already bored.
You want me to take over, Ben? I definitely like this book more than you did. For whatever that's worth.
Okay, take over.
So he's like, all right, I know that there are two other burly-looking motherfuckers in this mall who want to get me, and I can't risk them getting me and then getting this chip back. So I'm going to stick it on her scarf, and she's going to be my drug mule, except without the drugs. That will come up a lot, actually. She was a drug mule, but not without the drugs, Ben. So, he sticks it on there, but he doesn't stick anything else on there, you know what I'm saying? And then, her credit card only has 15 digits, and he exits the store, and then he gets her information and stalks her to her house, as you do.
You're just going to skip the escalator scene?
Oh, God, you're right. Yeah, sorry, my bad. See, on the way out, Lacey sees her ex, who is also her former boss. Now, don't worry, it's not as uncomfortable as you think. She definitely wasn't trying to sleep her way to the top. It will be explained later. Thankfully. So, she's like, oh no, that's my ex and his new fiance, who we will never, ever mention ever again. And she's like, hey, I'm a kiss the shit out of you, and she does, and it's magical, and they're locked lips all the way down the escalator. I assume there are people on both this escalator and the other side going up, looking at them and going like, holy shit, that's way too much PDA. Those two should get a room. Oh my god, they probably haven't had human touch like all their life with how just hard they're going after this kiss. And finally, they get off the escalator. The end of the escalator is the only thing that breaks their mouths apart because they just attached each other's mouths to one another.
I'm stunned and motionless for the first 2 seconds. I even peek open my eyes to see if this is really what she meant to do. There's movement on the other escalator next to ours. One of the operatives, I don't like yada yada, I don't care about the operatives. That's when she ups the passion of the kiss. Her body leans in and she presses her chest against mine. Her fingers glide along the base of my neck.
Chest? My guess is nothing. It's exactly like a man's chest.
She's playing with the tips of my hair. She must have interpreted my shift in our position as me raising the stakes of the kiss. Well, if she's going to go there, I'm going to go here. I react by clutching her body, pulling her even closer.
Yeah, where on his body, where on her body did he grab? My guess, the arms, the sexiest part of the body, those arms.
Who says you can't mix business with pleasure? Besides, right now, it's better for my business if I'm not alone. She deepens the passion again, taking this kiss to the next level. We're at a Christmas Eve magic. Stars sparkling in the sky, snowflakes falling on the ground kind of level. And I'm here for it. That's a real line. and I'm here for it. All of it. She's Rudolph, and I'm Santa Claus. She's guiding this sleigh ride.
So she's Rudolph and I'm Santa Claus. It means that until she was useful to me, I didn't even consider her a person? That's the Santa Claus way.
And then he wonders how long this escalator takes. Okay.
I was also wondering that. And all the people on the escalator were also wondering that because they just wanted to walk down and get by, but they were taking up the entire row, several steps, I'm sure, on this escalator, just going to town on each other's lips.
Okay, let's take a brief pause because there's two other things I noticed while I was reading that I wanted to talk about. So the first thing is that's how like every kiss is going to be described in a lot of detail, a lot of touching, a lot of you can imagine yourself being in his gentle embrace, and a lot of passion. A lot of pulling close, rubbing, just smooshing up against one another and just getting as close as you possibly can, I think. I don't think there's anything closer than that. Anyway, that's the first thing. Second thing, the entire book is written in first person, no matter how many perspectives there are.
There are two.
There are 2.5.
And a third one who is just one of the other perspectives. Spoilers. Spoilers on something you could guess pretty quickly.
I think I guessed every twist in this book by the third chapter.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you guess that Nicholas, her ex, was the villain?
Yes.
I did. Did you guess that there was a mole in the CIA and that it was the CIA director as the only other named person in the book?
Literally in the first chapter. Yeah.
Did you guess that Sienna Prime was Lacey? Because I did. Yep. There you go. Big reveals. You're getting the words about books treatment. This is how we felt when we guessed those reveals, which is to say they weren't...
Okay. I didn't care that it was a by the numbers thing. Because
I wish it would have been more by the numbers.
Yes, exactly. Because that she's Rudolph and I'm Santa Claus, she's guiding this sleigh ride, that's funny. That's supposed to be funny. She made me laugh. It was charming. It was fun.
They have a lot of Christmas stuff just like that. And I thought it added a nice bit of character to the book. Yes.
I did think the Christmas stuff was fun, but it was also like shoved in. It doesn't...
something has to be shoved in, Ben, and
I'm afraid to talk now. You're just going to keep doing this. The first person perspective. I don't like it for this book. I don't like a first person perspective with multiple perspectives. I often had to readjust to who was talking. And it was pretty jarring when it switched perspectives every chapter. And then when it started shifting perspectives within a chapter,
yeah,
I would lose the thread half the time. Because 1 minute, like, and it switches at the points like they'll be kissing or something. And
you'll Ben, you gotta know how the other person is experiencing this kiss from their perspective.
The kiss in her mind and end the kiss in his mind, and it's like that you don't need that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I don't really. If you're gonna do the Christmas,
they need to lean more into it.
Into the perspectives?
Into the Christmas, Ben.
Okay, this is what I'm... Yeah, I agree with you.
Good. I'm glad you agree with me, because I'm right.
I didn't mind it, but they needed to... It's either... What's the tone, Nate?
It depends on which part of the book we're talking about.
Exactly.
It's a fun Christmas rom-com until towards the end when it becomes a spy thriller and we're melting dudes' faces off of their face. off of their head, whatever. Dudes' faces are bubbling up and just washing away.
There is a scene at the end of this book that would not have been out of place in Hellraiser.
In Indiana Jones?
Well, in Indiana Jones, I guess, yeah. But
yeah, where the Nazis look upon God and they're... that's what happens to that man's face.
oh, yeah, okay. Okay, keep going.
All right. So he climbs into her house, Ben, for some stalking, as you do. He climbs up the side of a building in daylight. And it's a bad move. Bad move. Literally anyone can see you. He's like, people don't tend to look up. And it's like, yeah, but like, I can look outside my house and see if there's a man climbing my neighbor's house. You know what I mean?
I'm doing parkour. That's all you gotta say.
Doing parkour? Yeah. Anyway, so we climb into her house, and we can't find that gift. It's gone because she decided to mail it in the U.S. Post. He finds that out later. And she gets out of the shower, and he has to quickly hide in the closet. And like, don't worry, though. She's got, like, a full... he can't see her, and when she probably showered in a towel anyway, and then, like, he snuck out real quick. And he's like, well, he finds her plane tickets. He knows that she's going to Washington, the state, not D.C., so he's going to follow her there to find that ship. That's what he does.
It doesn't really, like, flow, does it?
And then...
you start describing it, and then you're just like, and then another thing happens.
And then they meet up on the plane, and they have seats right next to each other, and then they start talking for a prolonged period of time, and there's a lot of banter back and forth that I won't say is bad, and they talk, and they talk.
Are you saying it's good?
They talk. I'd say it's okay. I'd say it added personality to a book that without it would not have had so much personality. This book would be blander without it. I'm not going to say it's great, but I'm not going to say it's bad.
The dynamic between them is
flirty. They smile a lot at each other. I'm hitting the buzzer, Ben. Can I take a flirty smile for 500, please?
The dynamic between them is that she is kind of nerdy and klutzy.
Yeah, she's a chemist.
And he is a suave secret agent man. He's kind of a jock. He talks... oh, I forgot this. When he first meets her, she mentions like, "Oh, I've put on some weight," and he's like, "Well, I don't think it did any harm." Like, I think he likes her a little curvy. And he also says that when she's a chemist, he's like, "Oh, nothing Rubenesque." She's Rubenesque. God. When she says she's a chemist, he's like, "Nothing turns me on more than a woman who knows more than me." And I was like,
God.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the extent of being turned on for this guy is he's going to look at her moist, juicy lips. Oh, yeah. Nothing else happens when you're turned on.
You can't say the word. You can't say the words moist or juicy in this book.
Oh, my bad. Her
you could say red
lips.
I'll give you
red?
a full.
Full. Okay. Her full red lips. Perfect.
Yeah.
Whew. Thank you. I was afraid that we were going to get into some steamy territory.
No, we stick to solids. I don't want to hear anything about liquids.
Deal.
So they're on the plane, they're talking. She spills water on his crotch and everybody else in the plane.
She doesn't screw her water bottle shut. It just goes everywhere. And then he takes the fall for it. And then he's like, all right, so you go into the bathroom.
Gotta go dry off. Then they wind up locked in the airplane bathroom together.
The plane jostles and she flies in there, like crotch first, and then... oh, wait, no, that's what I wrote about this scene. Sorry, my bad.
But you're not far off. It's described that way.
They do basically get intertwined, and my thing was it'd be funnier if it were just a little dirtier. I think without that, it's a little. I mean, it's all right.
So I want to point out we're in the second bathroom scene in 10 chapters.
Yeah. Ben, what do you do in the bathroom? Time's up. Exactly. Nothing. It's a useless room. I don't know why people even have those in their houses other than to change clothes. So, like,
We hit a patch of turbulence, and my body flies forward. The bathroom door slams shut behind me as I fall into Park. I'm pressed against his hard chest for the second time today. At least this time he's wearing a shirt. Or not. Maybe the shirtless Park was better. He grabs my waist, holding me up. I'm wrapped in a cocoon of arm muscles and fresh manliness.
Fresh manliness. I think she described him as like smells like sandalwood, and it's like, okay, you've lost me. I'm reading a lot of quotes to highlight. Oh my god, what is happening? I swear this is all an accident. It's quite alright, he says. I put my hand out to grab something in order to pull myself up, but more turbulence shakes the plane and my hand missed the sink and land on his instead, standing at attention through his impossible. That one's from Chad Dingleton.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've taken this Chad Dingleton shit way too far.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's just, it's well, very
here's why I'm reading it.
But
that's why I'm reading these quotes, to point out to you that there's also parts in the book where she'll take shots at Hallmark movies. And
yeah, because they're stupid and cheesy, and
one of the things she says about Hallmark movies is that they are boring and they take forever to get to the end, which is just the relationship is sealed with a kiss.
You should not be talking about length here, buddy, and that's not like a euphemism. This should have been about 100 pages shorter.
My thing with the Hallmark movie is that the Hallmark movie, I was literally talking to my grandmother about this past weekend. My grandmother was bored with Hallmark movies. And she was we were talking about the Hallmark movie formula. And I was like, yeah, she's a big city, or she's a small town gal who moved to the big city to pursue a career in business. And now she's got really a lot of business, but she misses the family. And she comes back to the small town for the holidays, and that's where she meets local blue-collar man Randall. And Randall is really good with kids, and he's nice to old people, and everybody in the town loves him.
This sounds awful.
And she starts to like Randall, but then there's some misunderstanding between her and Randall. You need Randall to melt
someone's face.
And then she and Randall move apart, and she flies back to the big city, but then she realizes that she can no longer be satisfied with only business, and she comes back for Randall, and then they kiss. And yes, that's boring, and they've done it a million times. But it's clean because it focuses on the romantic love. She and Randall were still sort of, and pardon the expression, feeling things out. And they did not know if they wanted to be in a relationship. They did not know if the other person felt the way they felt. There was a little will they, won't they. And then they seal it with a kiss. That doesn't focus on the physical aspects of a relationship. And it's a perfectly good story. The first 50,000 times you hear it. But it's clean. Like, that's what clean means to me, is we're not going to focus on physical stuff. Whereas this, it's horny. I mean, these people want to make physical love. This is more than purely romantic love.
They want to, but they don't know that there's anything beyond kissing. So they want to have a holiday, and they say it in a way that's like, you are not grown adults. Come on. They're like, let's have a fun holiday, no strings attached, smooching party, kissing fest. Like, what?
So I read, somebody was asking a question on Goodreads about another book by this author and saying, is it clean or she doesn't want to read about sex. And the author responded with something like, I try to write all my books so that I could hand what I was writing to my daughter and she could read it and it wouldn't be inappropriate. And I think that's fine. Again, I think that's a fine goal. I just sort of question, like, is this that?
Is your daughter a teenager?
Words here that are inappropriate, I guess. But
there are ideas.
They're implying quite a bit. Like, maybe the shirtless Park was better. She's obviously very physically attracted to him. And this is a theme that's going to come up again and again. And I don't know if we need to summarize every little thing about this book. But most of
Well, we're almost an hour in, so no.
Yeah.
Can I just do a broad strokes then?
Do a broad strokes and then we'll talk about it.
And again, that's not a euphemism. Jesus Christ. So, they both end up in Washington, and they both end up driving in the same car because he uses his connections to cancel her rental. And they're both going to the same place. Who would have thought? And he pretends to be Mary Bradshaw's son. She has dementia, so he can just get away with that, I guess. He's like, it's actually kind of nice. It's at first it's kind of a wacky situation, and then it's like, I can use her dementia to my advantage, and maybe it would be nice for her, or whatever. I'm glad that they don't make any effort to verify your identity. I'm sure they don't, actually. So, then she's like, I'm gonna show you all the Christmas things. Christmas is an idea. It's a smell and a taste and a yada yada yada.
Beneath this mask there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask there is an idea, Mr. Creedy. And ideas are bulletproof.
Here's my family. We're gonna spend time with my family, but we're not a thing. Okay, this is just a fun holiday. Like, we're just gonna kissy kiss kiss kiss, and then we're gonna never see each other again after the holiday. Is that cool? And then some guys, bullets everywhere. Oh my God, guys were shooting at Park. And
Why won't you die?
he has to murder them. Just kills them. And she's like, oh my God, you killed them. And they're like, yeah. But it was self-defense. And then they go on the run after he drugs her. Which, again, I think that's not great if you're trying to be clean, right? You don't want to slip someone any kind of drug that incapacitates them.
Okay, he doesn't slip her shit. She's freaking out about the people shooting at her. And he just hits her with the booty juice. He just sticks that needle in there.
So, again, I don't know if that's clean.
It's weird.
Anyway, yeah.
I don't know that it's I don't know that it's not clean. He's not roofing her. He does undress her though. So yeah, no, it's weird.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
I'm back around to it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, then more fighting happens, and then more fighting happens, and then they go to the fire festival in the Bahamas. That's a joke. They do go to the Bahamas, but obviously not to the fire festival. And then they're like, all right, this is where Sienna's house is. And they solve her riddles, but Sienna's not home. And more guys with guns show up. Oh my God, so he blows up her fucking house and then drugs her again with another syringe. And then he puts her back in her house.
If you do that 5 or 6 more times, I'm gonna get really mad.
And he like brings her home, and her mom is not at all concerned. Like, why are you bringing my sleeping, clearly unconscious daughter into my house? Like, all right, whatever. And then they do the little breakup. He gets caught by some dudes because more dudes come after him. But then she reveals herself to be Sienna Prime and saves him, Ben. And then they melt a dude's face. It's her former boss. And after they melt his face, they have a scene where they're like, that wasn't us, right? Like, we're still the good guys, right? Like,
Yeah, no, we're
He
CIA
kicked the
agents.
vial
How could we
out of
be
his hand.
assassins?
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't gonna use it on him. I just had it in my hand, and he kicked my hand, and it slipped and melted his face off like an Indiana Jones villain.
Okay,
It's not
so
my fault.
You're even portraying that scene incorrectly. Hang on. I actually want to look that up because this is another quote because it's going to be important to like my points. Nicholas half stands as much as his tied legs will allow. He's tied to a chair and he throws his weight behind him. He falls back as if he means to slam the wooden chair against the ground, trying to break it in half to escape. But the action causes his feet to kick out in front of him, knocking into my arm, holding the fluoroantimonic acid. The Teflon dish flies in the air, and everything stalls and shifts into slow motion. I watch in shock as the liquid rises out of the bowl, suspended in the air like my breath. Park tackles me, pushing me out of the way of the dangerous chemical. We fall to the ground at the same time the acid spills all over Nick's face and neck, with a small drop landing on his crotch. The clear liquid mixes with the moisture in his body, turning a brownish bubbling color as it immediately melts away his skin like Frosty the Snowman in the sun. Only I don't think Nicholas will be back again someday.
Yeah. There was a time to maybe stop with
Nicholas's mouth opens as if he's going to scream out in agony, but it's like the acid swallowed up his voice and his breath. His eyes roll back in his head, and he lays there limp. We both sit stunned. I saw that going differently, I finally say. Park sits up. The acid only splattered him a little bit. Maybe he's okay. I scratch the side of my head. Yeah, but it's like eating through his body and clothes, so probably not. They're joking about this. They're joking about this man's burning corpse.
Well, to be fair, he was an international terrorist, and he broke Lacey's heart, Ben. Like, you gotta go.
She was a honeypot.
Yeah.
She was only getting with him
with feelings, Ben.
Just because I'm a honeypot doesn't mean I'm not a person. Just because I was only sleeping with you to try to convict you of a crime or maybe kill you for national security reasons doesn't mean you don't have to treat me with the respect I deserve. There's also a lot of like not knowing what the CIA does in this book. A, they don't operate on American soil, or they're really not.
That was my thought too, actually. I was like, shouldn't this be the FBI?
Yeah. B, she's like, you're an assassin? He's like, no, I work for the CIA. It's like, that's what they do.
That sounds about right. You did not clear your name just now, buddy.
Yeah, no. Ask someone from South America what they think of the CIA.
You're an assassin? No, I just get paid to kill people. I just rig elections, and if they don't want to be rigged, I kill people and get a new government. Yeah, but to be fair, Ben, bananas have never been cheaper. Okay?
I don't even think that's true. I think I was sold many lies in this whole American experiment. But yeah, so then they have another will they won't they. They go back, they get their heroes' medals. Princess Leia hands them stuff.
No, Ben, no. You would think that beating this guy was the end, but no, they also have to have a dementia patient, aka his fake mom, get the CIA director on tape admitting to a crime. The end.
Yeah.
Then they have the will they won't they get their medal, and then they're like, I love you, Park. I love you, Lacey. And then they kiss, but they've already kissed a lot, so it's like, you're not doing much different than what... I don't know what else you could be doing that's above a kiss. So, you know.
Well, no, the book ends with them, with him proposing to her.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They date for a year. Yeah, and then there's this like little epilogue scene where they're doing Christmas again. They're at her parents' house, and they're doing the gingerbread building. And that is cute. I mean, that's fine. And he put a little ring inside the gingerbread house, and it's very cute. She says yes, you know. So that's the thing they can do above kissing.
Yeah, but she mentioned, like, she randomly thinks, like, how would Park be as a dad? And it's like, but how do you even have kids? I don't know. I think you have to kiss really hard on, like, a special location, right? You put down your prayer rug, you kiss really hard, and the stork comes, right?
Did you say your prayer rug?
I had my kid in a very different way, so I don't know, man.
Okay, so problems. And this is where I said, like, the main problem I have with this book is it's too dirty to be clean. It's too clean to be sexy. It's tonally all over the place, which could be fun. Like, it's not fun. There are moments where it's enjoyable. It's not very long. You can tell that there was a looming deadline because the end of the book feels like the train suddenly just lurches and crashes in on itself. It's like, we gotta resolve some plot threads now. Well, and I want to read... This is another bit of the acknowledgments. Let me see... I want to thank those who helped me figure out how much action was too much action and when too many people were dying instead of falling in love.
So it was actually more gory originally.
I don't know that gory is the right word. I wonder if
she even wanted to write a rom-com. I don't know her other work, and again, I'm doing no research, so...
Oh, I'm sure she had the idea for, like, a Christmas spy thriller, which, like you said, on paper, it's a good pitch.
Yeah.
It falls apart a little bit in execution. You want to talk about the rubric? Because I think that might be the way to guide the rest of this.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do the rubric. blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja. I got the rubric all up in here. Alright, Ben. Content and ideas. You scored this higher than I did, so explain yourself, young man.
Okay, well, I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 2+. Not quite a 3, not quite a 2.
I think the idea was solid. You take one of those weird Christmas towns from a Hallmark special, you put it in a spy thriller, you do some cheesy Christmas puns, you have them fight some Saturday morning cartoon style bad guys, and then they beat a bad guy at the end. They find out that they were actually in love already, and Park gets a family, so you got that part of Christmas, and Lacey
gets the rock solid abs.
Yeah, she's the Raider self-insert, so she gets Park, and that's it's good on paper. I think. Yeah, I agree. The ideas are good, but they're underdeveloped, which I think is the definition of a 3.
I think they're very underdeveloped because I was going to give that a 3 until the book it kept going. The CIA director thing was a bad choice. It just extended the book. It added a second villain after seemingly the climax. And then the tone shift, it was weird. So that's why I gave that a 2+, man. I can't say it was never developed like a 2, but I think it's underdeveloped on a number of levels.
Yeah. You could definitely tell a month and a half, if that is true, is a hell of a short time
yeah.
to write a novel. It's 338 pages on Kindle. That's a lot. Like, that's 6 weeks would be a lot for a first draft. If there was any meaningful editing and beta, like, because she thanks a bunch of people, so presumably people beta read this, which means you had to get it to people in time to read a whole novel. Like, you and me read one a week, but we kind of force ourselves to, and sometimes we don't enjoy it. But This was a lot to get done. On one hand, I want to say, like, if that's true, if this really was written in like 6 weeks, this was finished in 6 weeks, that's really good for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But
I don't have a 6-week rubric, unfortunately.
Yeah, Cutthroat Kitchen. The judges don't care what sabotages you had; they only care about the final product. Ben, this could have been written in 10 years or in 1 day, but I don't care about that. It's the final product. The final product, good on paper, very lacking in execution.
Organization.
I gave the organization a 2. The organizational structure is present, but ineffective. Narrative is confusing and hard to follow in a way that does not feel intentional. The pacing is either much too fast or much too slow. The pacing, it definitely feels like at the beginning, I don't think it's necessarily like, and then another thing happened. Towards the middle and the end, though, it really did feel like, okay, they're going Christmas shopping. And then bullets, people are here, oh my god! A car chase! And then another thing happened at a gas station. And then another thing happened. And then they go to the Bahamas. And then the escape scene. And then they infiltrate the science lab. And then they it's just like, and then. And then. And then. And like I said, towards the end, it feels like it was just like, okay, wrap it up. We're introducing a Russian weapons dealer. Let's not even, we're going to introduce that, but let's not even pay it any mind. We've got to get to the end here. They capture them off screen, the end.
I don't disagree with anything you said about the pacing, but I want to add the organizational structure itself. The divisions between chapters and the divisions within chapters, the shifting first-person perspective, the just writing Lacey, and now it's from Lacey's perspective, even though we're within the same chapter. We just wanted to see Lacey's perspective at this moment. That's when you have omniscient third person. It's just the wrong structure at times. There are times when she wishes she was writing with an omniscient narrator third person, but she's not. So screw it. We'll just switch. It's Lacey now. And I am making out with Park, and now it's Park in it. I am making out with Lacey. And it's jarring. It's weird. I've not seen a lot of books do that. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. That didn't bother you at all. But I was constantly wait, who is I again? I thought that was confusing, and weird.
I was okay with it.
Not really. I'd just be repeating you.
All right. Word choice, Ben.
2.
Yeah. So I gave it a 3, but I'll let you talk about your 2.
I was waffling on this one, and I think at the end of the day, it just it reads like it was rushed. There are certain things in there that seem like placeholder jokes almost. She was Rudolph and I was Santa, and what the hell does that mean?
She's steering this sleigh.
Yeah.
Sleigh being
There's
whips.
Opportunities. Okay. So sadly, the Christmas joke that probably worked the best in the whole book is the guy melting like Frosty. Which is probably the whole reason he got acid dumped on him. The Frosty joke is probably the whole reason that happened. And it's funny. I am laughing. Ben, the horror fan, is laughing. It's like you said. Is that clean? I don't think so. But I'm laughing.
Well, as long as the acid did not have sex with him, yes.
I think it did, though.
It did get a little bit on his crotch, but You're forgetting that there's nothing down there, Ben.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I gave a word choice of 3. Oh, you have more?
No, it's just the puns never work. Like, they're not puns. They're just references for no reason. And it would have been funny if that was like the whole consistent thing, but it just comes and goes whenever she remembers, oh, it's Christmas.
I thought it'd add some character and some atmosphere to the book, but I can't give it a level 4, obviously. The reason I knocked it down from a level 4 to a level 3 is because I started to just notice the word smile over and over and over and over, and it's 250 some odd times in this book. I'm not joking. Smile comes up, and I think there's another 50 or something for smirk. And there's a joke I saw. I think it was on like a writers group. It was a meme where it was like, oh, it was on X. Now that I think about it, on Twitter, where it's like, it's my rough draft, and so-and-so said this as they smirked. I smirked back while smirking, and I said this and smirked smirkily. And it's like, like, yeah, no, rough draft, you're just trying to get shit on the paper. You will overuse the same word over and over and over. That's what editing helps with. You go back and you go, oh, I used smile 250 times. I'm going to change that. Let's change that. Let's make it so it doesn't just keep sticking out over and over again. So that's why I knocked it down. I guess maybe I should say that's why I gave it points above a 2. It deserved a 2, but I found the Christmas crap to add character to what would otherwise have been kind of a lifeless book.
I agree with you. This is no. It did when it was there, but it's either like you're just making it Christmas for the fun of it, and that's the joke. Like, you're just comparing everything to Christmas because it's a Christmas book, and that's what you do. And then it should be all throughout. It should be throughout the whole thing, but it's not.
I guess what I would tell you is my ideal would be, instead of going to the Bahamas and going off on that weird tangent, and also instead of jump cut to action, you build up the fact that, wait a minute, who the hell is that? Oh, that's weird. And Park starts realizing he's been followed. And then you stick all the action in the tiny Christmas town.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
That's what I thought too.
They were in the Christmas town for like 5 minutes. They build a gingerbread house. He gets molested by a reindeer, and then they're off to the Bahamas.
He does. and then they leave, and it's like, oh, I guess we're done with that book. We're now on to a different book with these same characters, because now we're in a spy thriller. My fun Christmas rom-com has disappeared, and now we're in a not so great spy thriller.
Yeah, like they should have spent the whole time in the Christmas town, and they should have
used some improvised Home Alone weapons to comically defeat
the bad guys. Should have had
guys.
like they should have attacked her house or something.
Yeah, they should have had larger than life personalities. They should have been ridiculous cartoon villains that you defeat by doing a Home Alone. The book, and both the romance and the spy stuff, practically writes itself.
I agree.
I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh, I could have done it better, because I have only released Edenverse into the world, and
I'll tell you the truth,
sensual perception. So, yeah. But it's easier to criticize as a reader than as the person doing the writing. I get that. That's why I don't want to beat up and be like, oh, I could do it better. But that idea does sound like a better pitch, right?
That goes back to why we didn't necessarily want to do we're careful about the indie books we choose.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to kick somebody who's doing their best. And especially who's taking all the financial risk themselves of spending the time.
If it helps, we don't know if this is her best. If she just started 6 weeks before deadline. So
No, okay, so personal preference for me is a 3.
Yeah, no,
Like-
I actually gave it a personal preference of a 3 as well.
And that may surprise people based on what I'm saying. I did not dislike it. Generally positive towards the book. Not your thing or failed to impress.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff where I feel like
The path not taken was better.
you're not letting the story go where it wants to go. You had an outline and you had to stick to it. Like, that's the feeling I get. Is there just wasn't time to explore. But at the same time, this is a little bit of a criticism of the clean romance as well, especially if you're going to set up a romance that starts so hot and heavy as this one. Because I don't really have a category. Yeah, I don't really have a category for where that fits. It's more of like a character thing, but like the plot with the spy stuff, that's one thing. But then the romance is also a very important part of this story, and it starts way too intense.
Yeah, they start at a level 10 kiss, as they call it, and they're basically going at it on an escalator, like an uncomfortable amount.
Is the most explicit expression of physical love you are allowing yourself to show.
Can't start.
Why did you start there?
Yeah. Yeah, in a more explicit book, they would have got it on in the dressing room, and then it would be like, well, where do we go from here? Right?
Or then, well, even then, if it was a more explicit book and they genuinely did have the Christmas fling, where they were having this like whirlwind physical relationship, they would learn it was something more.
Yeah.
And then the marriage at the end makes sense because like he's a CIA agent. He kills people. She's a CIA agent, it turns out. She was in a honeypot situation, so, you know, she's not waiting for marriage, presumably. And it's like these are people who would have a fling. Life is cheap to them.
Yeah.
They don't know if they're going to be alive tomorrow, so they're gonna, if there's an opportunity to be intimate today, they're going to take it. But then they realize, like, oh, maybe we do want to be alive tomorrow because maybe
we
now,
actually had feelings. And
yeah, and that's a direction you could go. Like, and it's like you said, I don't want to say I could write it better.
Keeping Burn Notice in mind, that's one of the things in Burn Notice.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say I could do it better. In 6 weeks, I could not do it better.
No, absolutely not.
But again, this isn't like, as far as I know, we're not reading like a 6-week writing challenge. We're not reading a NaNoWriMo or something here.
Right.
Maybe we are. Like, if it had that handicap, that expectation going in, I would say probably all of these scores get shifted to the left one block. If I could add that caveat.
Nope. Cutthroat Kitchen.
Yeah, that's the thing. If this is...
I'm here for your final product only. I don't care what happened while you were writing. Because this is a product. I spent money to buy this. Yeah.
So and I guess the final one, recommendation strength. I have some final thoughts after this, but for me it was a 3-week recommendation to genre fans.
Yeah, I was originally going with a 1, like I don't know who would like this, because as we were discussing, it is too violent for a clean romance, I feel like, but it is... Yeah, I don't know who would want this, right? But then you're like, well, there is a market for this, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll shift it to the left. There's a niche for this somewhere. I think it's a niche still because, yeah, it's clean romance, but a man's face is a liquid now. He wishes it were a solid, but it's a liquid.
They broke the rule. They made the solid.
Yeah, they turned a liquid. They broke the rule.
I need to know more about this clean romance, because I'm going to tell you the vibe I'm getting is that this is like a weird religious thing. The vibe I'm getting is that they want to pretend sex is not a part of life, and that's it. Like, that's the only thing. They just want to pretend that is not something like when a mommy and daddy love each other very much, they have a special hug. It's like
they kiss each other really hard on a pile of chaos emeralds.
I guess I understand that. Like I've said this a million times, and I know I'm beating a dead horse. I get why somebody would not want to read about sex. I get why somebody would not be comfortable with that. There's a whole bunch of reasons, and I think it's a totally valid thing. I just don't understand this version of it, where in reality these people would have sex. I don't understand why you wouldn't tell stories about more romantic love where sex doesn't come up. Like, or if there are two people who are going to wait for marriage, then that's fine. There are two people who are going to wait for marriage. Like, people do that. I understand that. I've known many people who have done that. That would be a parameter set up front. It's not something two CIA agents who are expected to seduce people are going to have. That's not a restriction they're going to have. Yeah. You can't have your CIA agent melt in a guy's face with acid, and also he's a total prude.
Or you can't have a honeypot who is just like, we're going to smooch a whole bunch, Mr. CEO man.
Yeah, it's it's weird to me, and I can't get over that. And there's something just kind of disingenuous about it. There's something in the morality of it that I kind of don't like. And I don't think there's I don't think there's an easy way for me to avoid saying that. It strikes me as a little problematic almost, that you want all this lust and all this like physical expression of love, but not sex. That's gross. That's too much. It's like you're describing the kind of like horniness that gets people in trouble. Like, these are adults who are not having sex because they simply, it seems like they have never had sex.
Yes. Again, they wish they could do something more than just kiss, but unfortunately there's no such thing. So,
or it's like that's just such a big step. Like, if you're, I don't know how other people felt about this, but like when you're young and you're starting to date as like a teenager or something, like that's a big step. It's an intimidating step. And there's a lot of reasons you don't take it. Not the least of which is you don't have your own house. Somebody's always watching you. But these are adults who are staying in hotel rooms together and have seen each other in states of undress. And it's like, and they both own beach houses in different oceans. That's weird. Yeah. I didn't think about that. How much does a CIA agent get paid? Jesus.
Well, maybe that's why they thought that he was the mole.
I don't know. Am I off base here?
No, I agree that there's something just off about the tone of the whole thing.
Like I said, this is the first one I've ever read. I don't know if it's representative of the genre. I don't know a lot about the genre.
I didn't even know this was a genre. I read it was a rom-com and thought I knew what to expect, Ben.
I'm interested if anybody has continued listening to this with good faith. I'm guessing fans of the clean romance genre didn't make it very far past the cursing we did in the beginning.
That was the plan. That was the idea.
Yeah. But if you did, if you have listened in good faith
I will censor the naughty words for a generous price.
I was going to say, if you've listened to me ramble in good faith so far, I will listen to you ramble in good faith. I am open to hearing an insider perspective on this.
And I'm open to Ben hearing that inside perspective.
Give me a bad vibe, but I don't know if that's fair. I guess that's what I should say.
All right. Is there anything else?
No, I think I have rambled about as much as I can ramble on my talking points. We'll do the Patreon shout out real quick.
I'll put it in at the end.
Okay, you'll put it in
It's
post.
getting late. Yeah. Put it in post.
Oh, but surprise twist. He did not edit the episode, and he did not add the Patreon shoutouts. So it falls to me, again, to correct one of Nate's many mistakes. And I must shout out Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. Spooky Shy with a Y on TikTok. John Bierce, actual author of the Mage Errant series and owner of a Patreon where you could subscribe and read his short stories. There is also, of course, the Gravy Man, Jamie, of the If You Want the Gravy blog. Check it out. And remember to keep your romances clean.